Hello everybody, and welcome back to Little Henham, and welcome to my questions and answers videos. This will be split into part 1 and part 2, so please look out for 2 videos on the channel. I'll try and answer as many of your questions as I can. If you do have any more, please do post them on the comment site, and I can make further videos to answer these queries for you on how Little Henham is built, constructed, and show you some of my techniques. So without further ado, let's have a look at some of your questions. Thank you. Okay, question 1 comes from Mr. John Bennett. Hi John, thanks for tuning in. And his question is all about my high street which I'm creating. Now, John is wondering whether I would put a walrus or a cinema in this high street scene along the back wall here. Well, I can answer that for you, John. That's an easy one. The answer to that is yes, I am. I'm going to put a bank in. As you can see here, I've put a Midland bank on the back scene. It isn't quite finished yet. I've started to do it, but it hasn't been completed yet. But once done, and once it's completely finished, it will enhance the back scene quite well. But in answer to your question, yes indeed, a bank is going to go in. As for a cinema, I can also tell you that I have a cinema as well. The cinema is actually in the little area on the layout which I call Metcalf, and in actual fact is part of the little high street scene here and makes up the row next to the bus garage. Now this model, as you probably will recognise, is a Metcalf model, but I've just enhanced it with my own cinema posters which I downloaded off the internet. So yeah John, yeah, we have got a cinema here. Thank you for your question. Okay, the next one came in from Mr. Graham Carter. Hi Graham, thanks for subscribing and thanks for tuning in. He's asked, would I put a walrus in the high street? Again, yes, I plan to put a walrus in the high street. At the moment I have my Thomas's store, which I put in last month. But once again, yes, a walrus is going to be put into the scene here. As you quite rightly pointed out, most high streets or big high streets had a walrus store, and I will get a decent picture of one from the 50s or 60s, and I will indeed put a walrus store as part of this back scene. Now I've started to make the next little building, or the next little shop, which will be here. And Luke Knights, hiya Luke, thank you for tuning in, and also LMS 500, hiya LMS 500, they suggested a second-hand furniture shop, or Luke has suggested a hardware store, something like Open All Hours with Ronnie Barker. So yeah, this little shop here I may well turn into either a hardware shop or a second-hand shop. Again, that'll be something a little bit different. Thank you for the suggestion. I love that idea. Either one of those, and yeah, I shall turn this into one of those. As you can see at the moment, I've just made the cardboard shell for the shop, and then I'll decide which one of the 2 I shall make, and then complete it. Thank you for your questions, Luke and LMS 500. Much appreciated. As you can see, my buildings, when I start them, the basis of them really is just artist's mounting board, which I cut to shape and glue, and that forms the outer shell, and then obviously that is enhanced with plasticard brick, Slater's tiling, and then the windows and doors go in, and then hopefully we end up with a completed shop. But the whole basis really is artist's mounting board, which is a really good material to work with. It's nice and sturdy, it's nice and flat, and you can stick stuff to it, you can paint it. And that's how really I do my buildings. As you can see there, the bank is actually a bought one, it's a Backman Scencraft. Like the wedding shop, Thomas's department store, and indeed my steam loco shed were all made using the artist's mounting board process, with the plastic card put on top. I don't think they come out too bad. I think it's quite good. But I leave that to you subscribers to decide what you think. As I say, the next video after this is an update video, and I have got some things on this high street that I have done since last month, which I wish to show you. So if you look in the update video after this, I will then explain the new enhancements there. Okay, my next question comes from Martin Bruggeman. Hiya Martin, forgive me if I've pronounced your name wrong. Now Martin is from Holland, and his question is, am I going to weather my locos? And if I do, can I do a video to show you my technique? But the answer to that is yes, all my locos will be weathered at some point. I have started doing some of them. And yes, indeed, I will do a video to show you how I do my weathering. I'm going to weather both the steam and the diesel locos. Everybody's technique is obviously different, and so yes, I'll show you how I do mine. As a subject, I'll probably weather the J15. I'll show you how I do it. You may want to tweak your technique in how you do it, but I'll give you the basics. I must admit, I'll tell you now, I don't use an airbrush. I haven't got an airbrush, never used one. I'd like to learn, but my weathering is basically purely done by hand and other methods. So if I show you a wagon which I've done, these are some of the wagons which I've already weathered by hand. They were mint condition when I first bought them, and using my technique, they haven't come out too bad. Weathering in itself is not really hard, but practice does make perfect. And if you can, refer to as many photographs of your subject matter as possible to get it right. There is many photos you can get off the internet, out of books, magazines, of a particular engine or wagon or coach that you want to do. So find your subject matter in a photo and then just copy it. And there are so many different materials you can use to weather with, and it doesn't just have to be spray paint. You can use, well, I've used stuff out the garden, I've used stuff out the kitchen. So Martin, yes indeed, I will do a video to show you how I do my weathering, no problem at all, mate. And thank you for subscribing from Holland. Thank you. Okay, the next question and answer is an answer for me, really. It comes in from Susan Bedison. Hiya Susan, thank you for tuning in and watching. And I myself asked whether schools in the 50s and 60s would have had chimneys on. And Susan has quite kindly said yes, she actually knew of a school which did indeed have chimneys and open fires. So in answer to that, my recently built school will have to be enhanced with chimneys and a source of coal in the yard here on Little Henham. I'm also now thinking that above the front door here it looks a bit sparse. I may have to add either a clock or a coat of arms above the front door there for the school. It looks a bit plain. So hopefully what I'll do is in the May video I'll actually have the chimneys in place. So thank you to Susan for answering my question, and hopefully you'll continue to tune in. And on with the next question. Right, the next question comes in again from John Bennett. Hiya John again. And his question is, how do I do my back scenes? Well, the back scenes are a multitude of, again, techniques. Some are pre-printed. Some are bought, cut out and stuck onto a separate back scene, which then goes onto the main back scene. And some are hand painted. Now the main back scene that you see here running at the back of the layout is a mixture really of both pre-printed sheets that you can buy from Gauge Master and international models. You buy them on a roll similar to wallpaper, and what I do basically is I cut it to size, and once it's cut to size and the length that I want, I lay it out flat face down. I then cover the back in just normal PVA. Now you don't want to make the PVA too thick, you want to spread it out so it's nice and thin. And then you apply the back scene onto your board very slowly, very carefully, and as you do it, get rid of all the ripples, the air bubbles, as you flatten it out. Once it's on your board, literally just leave it for, well, at least 24 hours and it will stick nice. Now this particular back scene in actual fact depicts a scene in Germany. It's the closest really I could get to finding something which was countrified and looked a little bit English. But Gauge Master and international models do a variety of different back scenes. You can have country scenes, town scenes, cityscapes, houses, and you'll find their adverts in all the major modelling magazines, and they often appear at the big shows as well. They are really worth buying. They're very good back scenes, and they do enhance your layout somewhat. Now my other technique for the back scene is what I've done here. I've got an international models back scene, but I've cut all the trees out of it and then stuck it onto a plain board. The board itself has been pre-painted blue, and by putting the trees on after I've cut them out, it gives it a little bit of depth. As you can see there as well, at the back there, I've also cut out from a different back scene a house, and once again I've stuck that onto the plain board to give it a bit of depth. When putting the blue onto the board, this is just literally a pot of pale blue or sky blue from B&Q. It's one of their tester pots. They're only about £2.50 each. Just go into B&Q or a Home Base, or if you've got a Wix, just buy a little tester pot of sky blue, and it's brilliant. It goes a long way. You can get quite a lot out of one pot, and just paint it onto your board, and it gives you a nice colour to start with. Now I don't know whether you can quite pick it up on the video here, but onto the blue, once that's dried, I've actually added my own clouds. These are all hand painted in, just to break up the blue a little bit. And again here, just above the trees, which again are cut out and stuck on, once the blue has dried, I have added the clouds. Now the clouds were done again literally with a little tester pot of white, and what I do is I dip a bit of cotton wool bud, or you can use a cotton wool ball. Just dip it into the paint, get the excess off, and literally dab the cotton wool onto the blue back scene. Just literally dab it. It will give you random shapes and random bits of white. If you want to here, like you can see on this cloud, once the white has dried, I then went over that yet again with a little bit of grey, using the same technique. Bit of cotton, dipped in some grey paint, take the excess off and just literally just dab it on. Let it dry, and then it gives you this cloud effect above the trees. Okay, my third way of doing back scenes is using these sheets, which you can buy at shows and that, and through magazines like Hornby Magazine, Railway Modeller. Now these are made by a company called Townscape, and basically what you do is you can buy the sheet like this. If you want to, you can stick the sheet onto your back scene board just as it is, with the houses all pre-printed onto them. They are quite nicely detailed, and the buildings are very well drawn, and they do make a decent back scene. I personally like to get the sheet as it is like this and actually cut the buildings out from the white area. This will then give you a building which looks like... I've laid it onto this white paper just so that you can see it. But basically you cut the building out from the white backing paper, and then you can add this to your pre-painted back scene. There's a variety of buildings you can cut out, from houses to libraries to factories. Or if you want to, you can just literally cut out the windows and doors and enhance buildings that you already have on your back scene. Once you've cut your buildings out and you've added them onto your backboard, you can get an effect like this. Again, the technique for sticking them to the board is literally just a little bit of PVA, not too much, spread it out, keep it thin, and apply your buildings to your backboard. By doing this, it does give you again a little bit more depth, makes the scene look like it goes further than it does. And here you can see on the chimneys I've actually added smoke coming out of the chimneys. Again, this is quite a simple process, and all I do is I pencil in with a soft pencil the smoke from the chimney, and then with a finger just literally smudge the smoke upwards to give it a soft look, and then that way you get quite a nice effect. But once again, by adding a little bit of smoke to the top of the chimneys, it gives it just another little feature on there. When doing this, try and vary the buildings that you cut out and add into the scene. Give it a nice little mixture of houses, factories. Again, you can use photographs to give you an idea of what a townscape would look like. We all take it for granted, but when you look into a townscape, you'll see the most amazing array of buildings, from factories to houses, churches, church spires in the distance. As you can see there, I've added a church and its spire. Again, that was cut out separately and added in. This particular one is the Railway Hotel. I've enhanced this with a foam box and a bench outside. And this one actually stands proud of the board. The hotel itself is stuck onto a piece of mounting board, and then the mounting board has got a block behind it which keeps it away from the main backboard. By doing this, you can actually make the chimneys on top not actually touch the back of the board. Again, it gives you depth. But once it's added into the scene, it does look quite good. And next to it, I've added, again using the same technique, some cottages at the back there. Again, they're cut out, added to artist's mounting board, and kept proud of the main backboard. Once again, the chimneys have had smoke added to them using the pencil and smudge technique. This area is not quite finished yet, but it just gives you a little idea of what you can achieve. The final effect gives quite a good result. So that's my back scene question answered. So you can use these town scene models. You can use the international models or Gauge Master scenery, which comes on a roll and you cut to size and stick on. You can paint your own back scene and add in your own trees from different pictures, adding in your clouds using the cotton wool method, as I say, dipped in paint. Or of course you can just add in buildings onto your back scene, which are obviously pre-bought and pre-made. Just one last thing. Another good little technique is, if you're doing a road which is leading off of your layout, try and find a photo of a street local to you which leads off, and then you'll be able to cut that out, add it onto your backboard to give the impression that the road does indeed go into the distance. Again, another little technique which, once done, comes out quite well. As you can see, I've done it here, and the street does go into the distance and gives you again a little piece of depth. Okay, so that's it for my first questions and answers video. Let me know whether I can improve on my technique for doing this, because I've not done a video like this before. And please keep your questions and answers coming in. I love receiving them, and I'll do my best to answer them. And thank you for all the subscribers I have. Thank you for tuning in, and generally thank you for the interest that you're showing in the layout, because it gives me the inspiration to push on and enhance the layout even further. So the next video that I will upload after this will be the April update video. And I've got, again, quite a lot to show you. I've been busy in the last month, and the main feature will be my new park scene, which has probably taken up most of my time this month. So I'm really looking forward to showing you that, and I hope you like what you see. So thank you everybody for looking in. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you all real soon. So from Little Henham right now, goodbye.